ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिकांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय पंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद सादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे अभ्रमं भंगरहितम् अजनं विमलं सदा आनन्दतीर्थमतुलं चित्रैः पदैश्च गम्भीरैः वाक्यैर्मानैरखण्डितैः गुरुभावं व्यञ्जयन्ती भाति श्री जयतीर्थवाक् अर्थकल्पितकल्पोऽयं प्रत्यर्थगजकेसरी व्यासतीर्थगुरुर्भूयात् अस्मदिष्टार्थसिद्धये जयति श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ समदन गोपाल वक्ष्यामि यस्य कृपया प्रमेय रत्नावलीं सूक्ष्मं भक्त्या भासेनापि तोषं ददाने धर्माध्यक्षे विश्व निस्तारे नाम्नि नित्यानंदाद्वैत चैतन्य रूपे तत्वे तस्मिन् नित्यम् आस्तां रतिर्नः आनंद तीर्थ नाम सुखमय धाम यतिर्जीयात् संसारार्णवतारणिं यम यह जनाः कीर्तयन्ति बुधाः भवति विचिन्त्या विदुषां निरवकरा गुरु परंपरा नित्यम् एकांतित्वं सिद्धयति ययोदयति येन हरि दोषः हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण welcome you all for the next session of our discussion on Ratnavali. I hope my voice is clear. Any problems, let me know. Not here.
It is clear.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. So, we discussed that there are now Pravameyas, the 9 tenets of the philosophy of Madhvacharya, which was described by Vyasatirtha in a shloka Sriman Madhvamate Hari Paratara Satyam Jagat Tattvato Bheda Jivagana Hare Ranucharaha Nichocha Bhavangata Muktir Neja Sukhanubhutir Amala Bhaktis Chatat Sadhanam Yakshaditrite Pramana Makila Amna Eka Vedyo Harihi. So it will be good to memorize this whole shloka. You can memorize this whole shloka, that will be helpful. Okay. And what is the meaning of Hari Parataraha? Yes. Can somebody tell what is Hari Paratara means? Hare Krishna. Vaikuntananda Prabhu, you are able to hear me?
Prabhu, I am able to hear you, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. So what is Hari Parataraha?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hari can take Jivatma power of this world, beyond this world, take out of this world.
Anything else? Basically, in simple terms, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what does supremacy mean? Supremacy means he is superior to every other living entity, every other dead matter, practically everything. He is supreme to everything. So supremacy means he is the cause of everything. So there are two karanas. One is nimitta karana and upadana karana that we discussed. One is the cause that changes, and one is the cause that's an instrument, the material cause and an instrumental cause. So just like a potter makes a pot, and the potter is which karana? Is it nimitta or upadana?
Nimitta.
Yes, and somebody else can try to answer. What is mud? Mud is which karana?
Upadana.
Yes. Upadana karana, yes. So in this way, we have got some fair idea of what is nimitta and upadana karana. We also saw that the Supreme Lord Shakti is upadana. Supreme Lord himself is the nimitta. So through his Shakti, he creates this world. So although he is ours is a Shakti Parinamavada, means Shakti undergoes transformation into the material world. It's as good as the Lord doing, because it's the Lord who is sanctioning, who is allowing, who is permitting it. But physically there is no transformation in Brahman. The absolute truth doesn't undergo any transformation. This is a very critical point we should keep in mind. It sometimes happens that people say ours is a Shakti, or a Brahma in the form of Shakti gets transformed. But of words we have to be very careful, because such a transformation, what happens is that you somehow end up ending in Parinamavada, that Brahman alone transforms. So Brahman can never transform. This is a concept we have to be very clear about. So it's Shakti undergoes transformation. So that is the philosophy that we accept. Okay, so before going to next point, till now any questions till here?
I have one question.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
a bit out of the box, but can you briefly explain the difference between Shakti, Maya, and Prakriti? Because they seem too relatable to each other.
Okay, that will be something related to what we are going to discuss today. So I think you'll get some clarity on that today. Then I will elaborate on it. Okay, Mataji.
Yes, sure.
Okay, so now the question is, if absolute truth is one, there is no transformation in the absolute truth. Then absolute truth is perfect in all respects. So then we have the form of Krishna with hands, with clothes that he wears, and childhood is different, baby is different, once he grows up is different. In every form there is a different Krishna. So absolute truth should not change, but we are seeing this change. So what is this all about? Anybody can tell me?
This is the influence of Yogamaya on Bhagwan.
Okay. There is a specific terminology in Nyaya that is used, which I had earlier explained. Specific term that I had used.
They are the Vishesha.
Yes, Vishesha.
Um,
And Vishesha means Bheda Bhavepi Bheda Vyavaharam Vishesha. Even when there is no difference, just for dealing, you use the term as different. I'll give a simple example. Red cloth. When we say, please bring that red cloth, that redness is an adjective for the cloth. But actually, there are no two substances. Red and cloth are not two substances. They are pointing to the same substance. But in dealing, we use the two different words, red and cloth. Correct? So that red and cloth, red is the Visheshana or adjective for the cloth. What is it called? Visheshana. So in case of red cloth, there is Visheshana, Visheshya, and Vishesha. The red cloth is Vishesha, and Visheshana is red. The object which is called cloth. Did you understand all these 3 points? In this?
Prabhu, your voice is breaking. I don't know whether it is for me alone or for everybody.
broke this time only,
Yes,
Prabhu.
it is breaking.
Okay, I will change the internet connection and see. Just a minute. Okay, now let us try this. I have changed it to a different connection. When we say red cloth, please bring that red cloth. So then in that red cloth, the cloth is the same. It is just having an adjective called red, which defines it. Correct? Now, the cloth itself is called Visheshya, and the red is called Visheshana. And once you are able to identify the red cloth, it becomes Vishishta. Visheshya, Visheshana, Vishishta. There is a person called Devadatta. How will you identify that Devadatta? There are 50 people walking on the road. How will you identify that this person is Devadatta? Somebody says that person with a stick, that old man with a stick, he is Devadatta, Dandi Devadatta it's called. So now that stick practically has no significance for him, but because he is holding that stick, it becomes easy to identify. In this example, what is the Visheshana?
Stick.
Stick is the Visheshana. And what is Visheshya?
Person Devadatta.
Yes, he is the Visheshya. And once he holds the stick and we identify him, that identified person becomes Vishishta. Okay. So now one homework will be, you all can write one example and share it to me of Visheshana, Vishesha and Vishishta. All three things in one example. Okay. Can you all write and share it to me personally?
Yes, Prabhu.
Now, why is this relevant to us? See, Krishna takes various different avatars. He himself has different parts of the body, and he himself has leelas at different stages of his life. So there are so many variations that we can see. Whereas in Shruti it said, Neha na nasti kinchan. There is no slightest difference or variation in the absolute truth. Absolute truth, there is no difference. You cannot differentiate the absolute truth at all. If you, there is a Shastra Pramana which says that if at all you differentiate in the absolute truth, then you will be destroyed. The way, just like the waters coming from the mountain will eventually spread and go somewhere else. They will be lost. So similarly, if you differentiate in the forms of the Lord, eventually you will be lost, you will be destroyed, it says. So very clearly the Shastra says that you should not differentiate between the forms of the Lord. But then we see enough Shastric references to say that there is Narsimha, there is Vamana, there is Narayana, there is Krishna, there is Buddha, there is Kalki. There are so many incarnations are there. So what we should do? Should we treat them differently? Should we understand that there is only one absolute truth or different absolute truths? How to understand this point? That is where the concept of Vishesha comes into picture. Now, you may say, I told Dandi Devadatta. You may say, that person with a stick is Devadatta. That person with a hat is Devadatta. He may have multiple things. Similarly, somebody is there. Somebody may say that intelligent person, or that person with white hair, or that old person, or that young person. One person can have multiple, what is that? Adjectives to identify him. You agree? If you are an employee, you will have an employee ID. If you are a son, your father will call you with a different name. If you are a husband, your wife will call you with a different name. If you are a wife, husband will call you with a different name. So everywhere you get a different identity, different way of recognition, but you are the same person. So in the same way, the Supreme Lord with his different avatars are the different adjectives to the same absolute truth. They should never be considered as two different entities. The Narayana of Vaikuntha and the Krishna of Vrindavana or of Dwarka, they should never be treated as different entities. They are all the same absolute truth only. This is a very critical point we should understand. So otherwise, as we read Shastras more and more, as we read deep philosophy, if we even start getting into Charitamrita is a very high philosophy actually. But initially, when we start reading it and when we start reading about the differences and all in the different avatars, we tend to think that one avatara is superior. The Krishna of Goloka is superior to the Narayana of Vaikuntha, and the Goloka Dham is very high, and Vaikuntha is something very low. You fall down into Vaikuntha or you rise up to Goloka. All these things we start using. Then further, there are so many pastimes of the Lord. Jagannath, Sakshi Gopal deity was there in the temple, and Jagannath said, "You send him out. Otherwise, he is eating my bhoga." So he sent him out. So when we hear all these leelas, a person tends to get confused. Are they two different entities? So this is where a proper clarity is required, and understanding this concept of Vishesha properly, we will get some clarity that each of them is the same Supreme Lord only, just that he is dealt with differently by different devotees based on the different adjectives that are given. So that is actually the concept of Vishesha in which we should understand. Means one may question, Ete Chamsa Kalapumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the original. So he is the original lamp that lights other lamps. So he is the original form of Nara. He is the original form from whom other forms emanate. So we read all these statements. Definitely. So when we read all these statements, definitely we should understand that special forms of the Lord are there. Otherwise, the concept of Vishesha would not exist. So definitely the Lord takes special forms where he demonstrates more Leelas. He demonstrates Venu Madhuri, he demonstrates Rupa Madhuri, he demonstrates Leela Madhuri, Bhakta Madhuri. He demonstrates this in a particular form and he doesn't demonstrate in another form. That's definitely there. That is exactly why Vishesha concept is there. But that Vishesha should not tempt us to think that they are different and one is definitely superior to the other. So then we are breaking the rule of Neha na nasti kinchana, that even the slightest difference is not there. That rule will be responsible for breaking if we don't accept this concept of Vishesha properly. So is this background clear?
Yes, Prabhupada.
Any doubts associated with this before we proceed further?
I just had a small question that
Yes.
sometimes of this theory of Visheshan and Vishesha, the Advaita says that due to this theory that you are limiting the unlimited Parabrahma, and then they defy it. So how does Baldev Vidyabhushan answer this?
How are we limiting? Can you explain that? What does Advaita say in that regard?
When we give specific Visheshanas to Brahma, then there are some Visheshanas which are not there on the Brahma. So don't
See,
we limit him in that way?
no, that's a logical fallacy. Suppose I say red cloth, then I may say red cloth with a design, or I may say a red cloth kept on a table. So, kept on a table is one dharma, red cloth is another dharma, design is another dharma. The more adjectives I give, am I reducing the anything in the cloth? Cloth still remains the same, but
Yes,
just
but
the adjectives are getting added to it. There is no limitation added to it. So Parabrahman is absolute truth.
yes,
There is no question about that. Just that absolute truth is dealt with different objectives, adjectives. Now somebody may question, okay, why these names? So absolute truth has infinite forms. So it's not that Parabrahman has to be impersonal to be Sarvavyapi. It has to be impersonal. Even a personal form of the Lord can have so many infinite forms that it can exist everywhere. And that way it demonstrates, it manifests all pervasiveness. So the infinite forms with infinite names, that is how it becomes at the same time all pervasive and unlimited. Not that it has to be impersonal only to be unlimited.
So infinite Visheshanas we can say.
Yes, that's the point.
Yes, got it.
Okay. Any other question before we proceed further? Now, one is the different forms of the Lord Himself, which we saw that they are non-different from Him. Apart from that, there are some energies of the Lord which are different from Him. They are connected to Him, they are taken shelter of Him, but they are different from Him. They are not same as Him. So basically, the energies are three. One is called Sambit Shakti, one is called Sandhini Shakti, and one is called Ladini Shakti. So these are the three types of energies of the Lord. So they are the Satchidananda manifestation. So what is Sandhini Shakti? Asti exists, I exist. When I say I, when I use the word I did this, I did that. The underlying background of that word I is I am conscious of my existence. Right. So now when something exists, that exists because of the Sandhini Shakti. And because of this Shakti, the Supreme Lord manifests different abodes, the spiritual world and the material world. Spiritual world has so many varieties, material world has so many varieties. All these things, the existence of all this is because of the Sandhini Shakti. Okay. Now, just because something exists is not enough. You should know about it also. You should have the knowledge about it. So I'm explaining it in very simple terms. Okay. So something exists, you should know that the thing exists. So that knowledge is provided by the Samvit Shakti. Okay. So Samvit Shakti helps us to know the things that they are as they are. And finally, developing a relationship. So once you get the knowledge, that is when you develop a relationship, you get attracted to somebody. So the real love, the purpose of all this knowledge, purpose of our existence and purpose of gaining knowledge is to develop an attraction to the Supreme Lord. And this attraction is called Ladini Shakti. And to come to this stage, definitely the knowledge of the greatness of the Lord is essential. So Baldevidya Bhushan deals with it in great length in Siddhanta Ratnam as to how we can develop loving affection to the Lord only after gaining knowledge about it. So even there is a Puru Paksha which says that the Brajavasis, they are just loving the Lord. They don't know Krishna is the Supreme Lord. So where is the question of knowledge? Then he said, no. One thing is that in their past life, they would have gathered sufficient knowledge about the Lord to come to this stage. And even here also, there are multiple references in Bhagavatam where the Brajavasis discuss Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He is so great. He performs such superhuman acts. They discuss. But then again, for pastimes, they just neglect it, and they, for them, Krishna is our relative, our friend, and we have to be with him. That's all. But even in that, sometimes in between, they glorify the Lord using verses, using shlokas, which clearly demonstrate that they do have knowledge about the greatness of the Lord. So this devotion comes from the knowledge. And that knowledge again is also devotion because it is connected with knowing the Lord. So in this way, these three Shaktis are always operating. And when this Shakti is mixed with distress, then it comes under the modes of material nature. So when it is free from distress, then that is a spiritual energy. It is completely under spiritual. So the pure spirit soul, the spirit soul is actually pure. It has nothing to do with the material existence. But somehow the spirit soul falls trap of three modes of material nature, and that is why it forgets its actual existence, that it has to be spiritual, and it gets into this illusory world. So this is these are the three energies with which the Lord is operating. So anything in this world, any living entity, any jada, any object, anything in the spiritual world, it's all antarbhava, it's all combination of these three Shaktis. So this is an important point we should understand before we actually begin into what are the examples of the Shaktis. For example, Lakshmi Tattva is there, Jiva Tattva is there. Where do each of them fall? Before we begin into that, we should understand these three variations. Okay.
Prabhuji, I have a question here.
Yes.
So, what I had heard earlier about Sandhini Shakti is that in the lokas like Goloka or like Vaikuntha Loka, whatever forms, like for example, there is a bell or a seat or any object like a pot. So it gives the existence of these separate objects which are in the seva of Bhagwan, and that
Hmm.
existence is from the Sandhini Shakti. Is this understanding?
Uh, just a minute, sorry.
Yes.
Suddenly something came up, sorry. Okay, so yes, the idea that I exist is because of this Sandhini Shakti of the Lord. So even the spiritual world, every object is cognitive. It has that knowledge that I exist. Even what we call Jada, that also it has its knowledge of existence. So that is called Sandhini Shakti. Yes, Mataji. So what question you had around that?
Yes. Yeah, I just had this point that because I wasn't able to understand that how just existence is a Shakti. Because even Nirgun Nirakar Brahman we see that also exists, but we don't say that it is Shakti Yukta. So I wasn't able to understand the
No, for something to exist, some energy is required. So that is the Sandhini Shakti which gives the potency for something to come to be into existence. That's all. Because being into existence also involves the consciousness that I exist also. So all the things are requiring energy. So that that Sandhini is the energy which makes it happen.
yes, okay.
Okay. Now this is one confusing point as to Supreme Lord Narayana, he is Hari Parataraha, Krishna is Supreme, that we are quite clear about. What is the position of Mahalakshmi? Is she another living entity? Is she the Supreme Lord? Or is she somewhere in between? What is her position? This is very confusing actually. Uh, many people are not clear about it. So now I will read one purport from Srila Prabhupada. According to Madhvacharya, there are two tattvas or factors. One is independent and the other is dependent. The first tattva is Supreme Lord Vishnu and the second is the Jiva tattva. Lakshmi Devi being dependent on Lord Vishnu is sometimes counted among the Jivas. The Gaudiya Vaishnavas, however, describe Lakshmi Devi in accordance with the following two verses of the Prameya Ratnavali of Baldev Vidyabhushan. The first verse is a quotation from the Vishnu Purana. Nityaiva sa Jagannmata Vishnu Shri Anapayini Yatha Sarvagato Vishnus Tatayveyam Dijottama Vishnusyu Shaktayas Tisras Tasu Ya Kirita Para Saiva Shris Tat Abhinneti Praha Shishyan Prabhur Mahan. O best of the Brahmanas, she is the constant companion of Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, and therefore she is called Anapayini. She is the mother of all creation. As Lord Vishnu is all pervading, his spiritual potency, Mother Lakshmi, is also all pervading. Lord Vishnu has three principal potencies: internal, external, and marginal. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has accepted Parashakti, the spiritual energy of the Lord, as being identical with the Lord. Thus, she is also included in the independent Vishnu Tattva. In the Kandimala commentary on Prameya Ratnavali, there is a statement, Nanu Kochit Nityamukta Jivatam Lakshmyas Swikritam Tatraha Praheti Nityaivaiti Padye Sarva Vyapti Kathanena Kalakaஷ்tyeti Adi द्वये शुद्धो पित्ये उक्त च महाप्रभुना स्वशिष्यान् प्रति लक्ष्म्या भगवत् अद्वैतम् उपदिष्टम् क्वचित् यः तस्यास्तु द्वितीयम् उक्तं तत्तु तद् आविष्ट नित्यमुक्ता जीवम् आदयः संगतमस्तु. Although some authoritative Vaishnava disciplic successions count the goddess of fortune among the ever liberated living entities, Jivas in Vaikuntha, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in accordance with the statements in the Vishnu Purana, has described Lakshmi as being identical with Vishnu Tattva. The correct conclusion is that the description of Lakshmi as being different from Vishnu, as are stated when an eternally liberated living being is imbued with the quality of Lakshmi. They do not pertain to Mother Lakshmi, the eternal concept of Vishnu. See, in our daily usage, sometimes when the new daughter-in-law comes to our house, then they say, "Oh, today Lakshmi came to our house," or something like that. So, in regular usage, these are the things. Sometimes when a small kanya is seen, so they say, "Oh, it's Lakshmi who is here." So these are our daily usage. So sometimes even the Jiva Tattva, we elevate her to the position of Lakshmi in our dealings. And sometimes certain living entities can have Avesha of Lakshmi also. They can have the power of Lakshmi in them also. But that is the Jiva Tattva Lakshmi that is being spoken of here. But then what is the power of Lakshmi? Mahalakshmi, what is the position of Mahalakshmi? So now these purports and these sections when read can confuse people. I mean, one option is eliminated, that Lakshmi is definitely not Jiva Tattva. That is clearly eliminated. After reading this, there is a tendency to think that Lakshmi is Vishnu Tattva. She is also included in the independent Vishnu Tattva. So, these verses are used to indicate that Lakshmi is Vishnu Tattva. So, how do we understand that? Is Lakshmi Vishnu Tattva? Okay, let us see now. अनपायिनी भगवती श्री साक्षात् आत्मनो हरेः विश्वक्सेन तंत्र मूर्तिर विदित पार्षदाधिपतः नंदादयोस्तौ द्वास्ताश्च ते निमाद्य हरे गुणाः. The goddess of fortune Shri, who never leaves the Lord aside, appears with him in this world as the representation of his internal potency. Vishwaksena, the chief among his personal associates, he is known to be the personification of the Pancharatra and other tantras. And the Lord's eight doorkeepers, headed by Nanda, are his mystic perfections, beginning with Anima. So, what is mentioned here is Anapayini is used to indicate that the goddess Lakshmi is always with the Lord, she never leaves him. So, whenever the Supreme Lord takes avatara in this world or incarnates in this world, Mahalakshmi is also with him on the side. Further, it says, this was from Srimad Bhagavatam 12th canto 11th chapter 20th verse. Further, in 4th canto 1st chapter 4th verse purport, both the Lord and his consort are beyond this material creation, as confirmed by many authorities. Narayana Paro Vyaktat. Therefore, their eternal relationship cannot be changed. And Yajna, the boy born of Akuti, later married the goddess of fortune. See, this is the here the things are clear that Vishnu and Lakshmi and Narayana, they are always together, sitting side by side. You can never separate them from each other. The number of incarnations the Supreme Lord takes, that many incarnations Lakshmi takes to serve him. Okay, even when the whole everything is destroyed, there is annihilation, pralaya. After that also, it is Narayana and Lakshmi who alone stay. So they are dual, they are together, but they are staying together. That is the idea. So Lakshmi doesn't undergo the destruction that Jivas undergo. So that's why Lakshmi Tattva is superior to Jiva Tattva. It's not Jiva Tattva, it's superior to Jiva Tattva. Some people may confuse her to be Jiva Tattva, others may confuse her to be Vishnu Tattva. Lakshmi is neither Jiva Tattva nor Vishnu Tattva. She is an independent Tattva who is, she is a separate Tattva who is subordinate to Vishnu. Otherwise, the Dasyatva, the Bhakti would not have any relevance. Mahalakshmi is considered a devotee, a bhakta. So that bhakti would not have any relevance if she would uh, be considered Vishnu Tattva. So we are denying her opportunity to serve. By considering her Vishnu Tattva, we are denying her opportunity to serve. At the same time, by considering her Jiva Tattva, we are denying the opportunity for her to serve after the whole annihilation takes place. So it is neither. She is a special tattva. That is the understanding we have to derive. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 15th chapter, 3rd verse, purport, Prabhupada writes, the significance of goddess of fortunes never being separated from the Lord is clearly mentioned here. People in the material world are very fond of the goddess of fortune and they want her favor in the form of riches. They should know, however, that the goddess of fortune is inseparable from Vishnu. Materialists should understand that the goddess of fortune should be worshipped along with Vishnu and should not be regarded separately. Materialists seeking the favor of the goddess of fortune must worship Lord Vishnu and Lakshmi together to maintain material opulence. If a materialist follows the policy of Ravana, who wanted to separate Sita from Lord Ramchandra, the process of separation will vanquish him. Those who are very rich and have taken the favor of the goddess of fortune in this world must engage their money in the service of the Lord. In this way, they can continue in the opulent position without disturbance. That is the crucial point here, that Lakshmi cannot be separated from Vishnu. Anybody who tries to separate Lakshmi from Vishnu, he will be destroyed, the way Ravana was destroyed. So here Anapayini means she is eternally inseparable from Vishnu, means it's not one merged God. Sometimes Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. When we study all these things, we are in too hurry to prove the point that Radha and Krishna are not different from each other. And in this process, somehow we get mixed up in this tattva. But here Anapayini means they are inseparable. They are sitting together with each other, but you cannot separate them from each other. Whatever form the Lord takes, Lakshmi is there with him. That is the idea. If he takes unlimited forms, she also takes unlimited form. So she cannot be separated from him. And she is Sarva Vyapini. If the Supreme Lord Narayana, that is the point. Sometimes this Sarva Vyapini means people think that just like Narayana, Akasha is spread everywhere, the sky is spread everywhere. Now, the Supreme Lord is more subtle than sky. Brahma is more subtle than sky. If absolute truth is more subtle than sky, absolute truth will be more spread than sky. So, under those circumstances, the absolute truth, if it is what is a Sarva Vyapi, then because Lakshmi is also Sarva Vyapini, the whole absolute truth is one. These are the conclusions the person can draw. But as we discussed some time ago, how is the Supreme Lord Sarva Vyapi? He is present everywhere by his unlimited forms, not by impersonal spreading. He is present everywhere by his unlimited forms. So just like he is present by his unlimited forms, the Mahalakshmi Devi also takes such unlimited forms to serve him. That is the understanding of how Lakshmi Narayana are all pervasive. And one important thing to consider is Mahalakshmi is definitely a Swatantra Tattva, because there is only one Swatantra, there is only one independent, everyone else is dependent. Now, dependent doesn't mean that she becomes living entity. She is a special who is dependent but still eternally serving the Lord. That is the samanvaya we can do of this section. Okay, so even after Pralaya, even after everything is destroyed, still Lakshmi will be with Narayana and serving. That is how we should understand how they are unlimited. Okay, is this concept clear or was it any confusion in this?
Can we
It's
say this Lakshmi? So, is the conclusion like if there is a yes or no question? So, is Lakshmi dependent or no?
Lakshmi is definitely dependent, but she is not dependent like the Jivas. Even after she doesn't get destroyed, she doesn't destroy her body doesn't get destroyed the way Jiva's body gets destroyed. That is the idea.
And Haribol, I wanted to say one thing. This internal potency, Samvit, Sandini, Hladini, Lakshmi, Radharani, these are all in a Vishesha relationship with each other. Would you say that is right?
Yes, yes, Prabhu. So the different forms of Lakshmi Devi, Radharani, and the different Shaktis, they are having Vishesha relationship with each other. But one thing, Prabhu, I would, based on my understanding, I would like to share. You can also clarify that they don't have a Vishesha relationship with Narayana. Correct? Narayana has his own separate Visheshanas, and these Shaktis have their own separate Visheshanas. Is that right, Prabhu?
That's what I think. So yeah, I just wanted to confirm that that's what also you're saying, because there are other discussions of Prameya Ratnavali where they seem to say that the Lakshmi and Vishnu are the same, but I don't think that's correct. I think your presentation is correct.
So this is what I could understand from my limited thing, that she is an energy of the Lord. Only thing is, she is that special energy who is never destroyed, always with the Lord, sitting next to him. So that makes the Anapayini concept understandable, is what I feel.
So if anybody tries to confuse that, say that Vishnu and Lakshmi are the same on the basis of these passages, we should say the key word is anapayini, which means not separated. It doesn't mean they're the same. They're unseparated.
They are not separable. Even after Pralaya is there, they sit together next to each other. The duality is maintained. They don't become one. But at the same time, she is different from Jiva Tattva.
And I notice in your document here, you say she is non-different. So she's non-different from the internal potency, not that she's exactly Vishnu.
Yeah, yeah. She is non-different from the internal potency of Vishnu and not Vishnu himself. Yes, I'll correct you.
Okay. Okay, that sounds very clear. Thank you.
There is sometimes a little complicated topic. Thanks you brought this, but I thought I will introduce it. There is sometimes a thought that energy is Vishesha of the energetic. But Madhacharya has condemned that, because when you say Devadatta with a stick, so that stick is just a identifier. The stick doesn't become a separate entity. It is just helping to identify the person. Okay, so that is why the Visheshana is for the person himself. So for Narayana, any type of Visheshana cannot be non-Vishnu Tattva. That is the, if it is a non-Vishnu Tattva, then it's the energy, and then it doesn't become a Vishesha of Narayana anymore. So that's how he argues that.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, are you familiar with the term called Purushakaram,
Sorry?
which means Purushakaram?
Purushakara?
Actually, Lakshmi is the prime person. She is recommending to Narayana whether this person is qualified or not. That's, they call it as Purushakaram. She is the person who recommends to Narayana.
Yes, yes. That is there, definitely.
That's
So,
there. So in that way, she is not the dependent in how the jivas are dependent, right?
definitely there is a variation in that also. Lakshmi is not dependent in the way Jivas are dependent. Means Jivas need Lakshmi's help to approach Narayana. That limitation is not there in Lakshmi.
That is why it is said in Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, one should first go to Lakshmi Devi, Tayar Sannidhi, and then they go to the Narayana. And
Yes.
this is how the Ramanuja Sampradaya have set in. And,
Yes,
one more, I have one question. Is it okay to offer Vancha Kalpatarubhyasha prayer to Lakshmi Devi whenever we go to worship her? Is it okay?
Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. So you are offering to Vaishnavebhyo. Vaishnavebhyo means you are offering to the Vaishnavas, and she is the highest Vaishnavi. So definitely it's mandatory to offer obeisances to her. Without her, how we can approach her?
Okay. So I was also thinking, is it offensive to offer such prayers to
No, no, it's
on the level
definitely
of
not. Only problem will come when we start thinking her to be Vishnu Tattva. Getting confused by these shlokas, if we start thinking she is Vishnu Tattva, that is where problems will come.
okay? Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Another thing I wanted to mention on this point, like that Vishnu Purana says that just as Vishnu has all these or descends in all these forms, similarly this Lakshmi also descends in all these forms. If if Lakshmi and Vishnu are the same, then maybe it should have been, oh, just like Vishnu has so many forms, Lakshmi is also one of her forms.
Yes, yes.
But the Vishnu Purana doesn't say that. It's making an analogy of two things which are different. So the
Yes.
Lakshmi Tattva and the Vishnu Tattva are two different. That's why it's that analogy is being made. Otherwise, they didn't need to make an analogy. They could have just said it was the same.
Yes, yes,
Right?
exactly.
And then, so then another related point, Baladeva in another work says, just like Vishnu has all these forms, similarly Om, just as Vishnu expands as so many forms, similarly Om expands as the Rig Veda and so many Shastras. So to me, like that means the Shastras are not like a Vishnu Tattva. The Shastras are like Om in a Vishesha relationship with Om. Otherwise, that analogy wouldn't be made in this, just like in this
Yes,
Vishnu
yes.
Purana. So would
Vishnu
you agree with
expands
that?
into
That the
Omkara and
Shastras,
that expands
because
into different Vedas. It could have been put in that way, but that's not the way it's portrayed.
I'm sorry, say what did you repeat, please?
It could have been put as Vishnu expands into Omkara and different Vedas.
Yes, yeah,
They did
yeah.
not put it like that.
So then how to so then when in the Bhagavatam it says that, you know, Srila Prabhupada translates that like that the Bhagavatam is incarnation of you know, Krishna. So because then if you hear something like that, then you know Srila Prabhupada uses the word literary incarnation. So if you think like that, then oh, that means the Shastra is also one of the Vishnu Tattva incarnations. But I don't think Srila Prabhupada intended it like that. How would
Yeah,
you
means if you
explain
go to
Bhagavatam and Krishna relationship?
if you study Tattva Sankyanam, then there are three. One is Chetana, Achetana, and what is that? Chetana, Achetana, I think. Long ago I studied.
Yeah.
So there is one which is conscious entity, which includes all these things. Narayana, Lakshmi, Jivas, everyone. Then there is unconscious entity, the Jada. Then there is the third entity, Chetana. What is that? Okay. So, in a sense, these Veda Shastras are described as unconscious entities. Unconscious means they have Abhimani Devatas. They have deities who are responsible for them, who are living, but the Shastras themselves don't have that. So here, when we say Bhagavatam as a literary incarnation, that representative Krishna is there in the Bhagavatam because his Nama is there, his Leela is there. So his Leela are not different from him because again on concept of Neha Nanasti Kinchana, the Nama, Guna, Rupa, Leela are non-different from him. And because those pastimes are there in Bhagavatam, it is non-different from him. But it's not that the Shastra itself is qualified as Vishnu Tattva.
Okay. So to me, this is a very important point because we use the words incarnation, non-different, a little bit loosely, but that can cause confusion.
Yes, yes, yes. So all this, actually, if we are clear with this, then it becomes more easy. And every Shastra has its Abhimani Devate also, the responsible deity for Shastra. So when Haigriva stole the Vedas, so how did Haigriva steal the Vedas, the demon? So is it that Brahma was in sleep and he copied something from him, or he took the books of his library? No, he actually stole the Abhimani Devatas of the four Vedas. And then Lord Haigriva came and rescued him, or Matsya came in a different kalpa and rescued him.
Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna,
Any other
Prabhu.
questions? Yes, Prabhu.
Just one query. So, if the Srimad Bhagavatam is not the literary incarnation of Krishna, then means the Vishnu Tattva means whenever we say incarnation, it stems from the Vishnu Tattva, right? The Srimad Bhagavatam is not Vishnu Tattva. then how to reconcile this? Because whenever there is an incarnation, it has to be Vishnu Tattva, right?
No. See, Srimad Bhagavatam, what does it contain? What is the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam? What does it contain? It contains the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, correct?
Okay.
And wherever the pastimes of the Supreme Lord are there, the pastimes are non-different from the Lord. So because the pastimes of the are non-different from the Lord, in that sense, definitely it's the Supreme Lord. But here the question is that sometimes the Vishnu Tattva also people get confused. Then what happens is that I take some sections of Srimad Bhagavatam and I give a full Bhagavatam class. In that I add some of my speculations also. Then somebody objects, I can tell that no, Bhagavatam is non-different from Supreme Lord. So when I'm giving Bhagavatam class, why you don't listen to me? I may object to your thoughts also, right? I may object to your things also if you are not representing the Bhagavatam. So under those circumstances, I can challenge that no, it's the Krishna who is the Supreme Lord. And just because you pick certain Bhagavatam verses, that doesn't become supreme. Because you are representing the Bhagavatam and your words can also contaminate. So how can somebody contaminate Krishna? All these philosophical points come. That is why we should use the words very properly. Here, what Prabhu is mentioning is that we have to be very careful. We should understand what each tattva is and not use the words loosely. Sometimes when we say Lakshmi is non-different from Vishnu, this non-difference sometimes is used in a way that Lakshmi becomes Vishnu tattva. See, we have this, especially in Gaudiyas, this thing can come that Radharani is there. So Radharani is more merciful than Krishna, or Radharani controls Krishna. So when all these statements come, this can be confusing because then are you elevating Radharani to something superior to Supreme Lord? Then where comes the question of Supreme Lord? So the tattva should be very clear. So the tattva is one Vishnu tattva. Swatantra tattva is Vishnu tattva alone. His energies can be manifested, his pastimes can be manifested in different places. So that we have to be clear. So his pastimes are manifested in Bhagavatam. That way it's a literary incarnation. Okay. So that is the way we have to understand it.
Okay, bro. Thank you.
Anything else?
Krishna Prabhu, then Prabhu.
No. Yes.
Prabhu, I am not able to understand what you told. That is correct, Prabhu. But is there any need to make Lakshmi ji like a separate entity? Can we not say simply? Of course, it is separate. Can we not say she's like there is three tattva, three energy of the Lord. That is Tataskha, of which comes this Jiva. Then material world, that is Bahiranga, and then there is Antaranga Sakti, and Lakshmi ji part of Antaranga Sakti, personification of Antaranga Sakti.
No, that is exactly what we say. But one thing is that even among the liberated souls also, Lakshmi holds a superior position. That is the point here. Okay, because
Yes, but because they are liberated Jiva, na Prabhu, they are Jiva, but they are we can say they are Jiva, so they are Tatastha Sakti, and that is but under Antaranga Sakti.
they are under
But
yes.
Lakshmi ji itself is Antaranga Sakti.
Yes, yes. So it's the same thing in a different type of classification. The same thing.
Because there will be many, like there are many, whether they are Jiva or what they are part of Leela, so we say they are Antaranga Sakti like. But we cannot say them as a Vishnu Tattva also.
Means somehow this Lakshmi Anapayini concept should not be compromised. One way of compromising Anapayini is to reduce her to other living entities, Jivas.
Yes, of course, she's not. Never.
Another way of compromising it is to increase her to Vishnu Tattva. Both should not be done somehow. In the way, however we speak on this, we should make sure, just like I told you, Vishesha. However you explain Krishnastu Bhagavan Swami, suppose you are given a Bhagavatam class, Ete Chamsa Kalapamsha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swami Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Brajayanti Yoga. You are giving class on Bhagavatam, however you give, make sure that Neha Na Nasti Kinchana, the principle is maintained. You maintain the principle that you are not discriminating between Vishnu Tattvas. If you are able to maintain this principle, however you explain that, it's okay within that bracket.
Okay, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, since you studied about Madhvas, I was just reading this 12th chapter. So in that, Prabhu, matlab just Madhvacharya Bhasya, I think it was there. So they have, like, when we say in 12th chapter, Arjuna asks that there are two ways, one is impersonal form and one is personal form, which is the better. But at that time, Madhvacharya takes it like one is Vishnu worship and one is Lakshmi worship. Would you like to, because I did not say the Bhasya, I just say the translation. I went to Udupi, so I got that book,
Yeah,
small
Avyakta Aikatir
copy.
Dukha, he translates it as some people think that we need not worship Narayana if we just worship Lakshmi. Means they take this concept of going to, like Vaikunthanand Prabhu said, we go to Narayana through Lakshmi, we go to Krishna through Radha. But they take it to such an extent that only Radha is enough or only Lakshmi is enough. Now, that is a problematic philosophy. So that he wants to, such problematic philosophies existed during his time also. He wants to attack that, saying that Lakshmi and Narayana must be together for our worship. He wants to establish.
Okay.
So that is also one form of Avyakta Puja he is telling.
Yes, yes, he's telling that I saw the translation. Okay, Prabhu.
So how are
Prabhuji,
you all feeling? Was it too difficult subject, or it's we were able to follow today's might be a little difficult?
it's a very interesting subject, which I feel, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, just a small takeaway, which I feel
Yeah.
is if please tell me if this is right or not. So, can we also, like, as you said, that she cannot be increased to Vishnu Tattva and she cannot be even decreased to Jiva Tattva. So, can this Anapayini concept also be applied that the Achintya Bheda Bheda theory is between Lakshmi Narayana also?
You have asked a very difficult question. See, I will explain it in simple terms. Actually, a lot of deep philosophy is there in this, but I will explain it in simple terms. Between the forms of Narayana, there is Achintya Bheda Bheda. Okay, because there are unlimited forms and they are Abheda clearly. But on concept of Vishesha, using the term Vishesha, we are only for our dealings treating them as different. So between Vishnu Tattvas, clearly Achintya Bheda Bheda is defined. For dependent entities, whatever Shaktis, be it Mahalakshmi, be it Jiva, be it Jada, they are dependent on Parabrahma, absolute truth. Okay. So that is where the problem comes. So when any action happens, is it the Parabrahma who is the doer, or is it that particular thing, that Shakti which is the doer? So that is where all confusion starts. Somebody says that the energy is doing. Somebody says that how can the energy do without Supreme Lord? So it's the Brahman itself who is undergoing parinama, change. So that is where all these people start arguing. Now, Madhvacharya clearly says that absolute truth doesn't undergo any transformation, because if the energy undergoes transformation and energy is also part of absolute truth, then that means absolute truth has problem. For example, now somebody gets old, somebody gets deceased, somebody dies, the material world, something decays. There's so many things that are happening. If it's all a part of Parabrahma, then Parabrahma is undergoing all these decays and transformations. But Parabrahma is Nirguna, it cannot undergo any changes. Okay, so then you cannot explain it in a way that change has to be accepted. So that is one thing. Okay, now somebody may argue that no, then how can you separate it? Then it becomes independent. No? Material world becomes independent of Parabrahma. So Madhvacharya clearly says that they are quite different from each other, and you cannot say that Parabrahma undergoes transformation. Still, he gives some, what is that, concession. Okay, if you really have that worry, if you really have that concern that energy has, we are giving some independence to energy by allowing it to transform. If you have that worry, then fine. It is like a father gives money to the child to buy something, maybe buy some biscuit or buy some laddu, buy some mangoes, buy some pineapple. He gives the money and the child brings that. Actually, it's the father only who is arranging that. But the instrument is the child, but it's under the direction of the father only. So in that sense, if you say that the Brahman is the controller and the Jiva has some freedom to operate within that control, then it's okay. That is acceptable. Now here, this is the concept of Bheda, that the energies are independent, the energies are acting, but they are acting under the dependency of the absolute truth. So this is with respect to the energy and the energetic, there is a question of Achintya Bheda. I will deal with it later in more detail, but just like sun and sunshine is one example that Prabhupada would give. It's not so easy to understand. Sun and sunshine is uh, quite initial level of example that has to be further, it evolves into Bimba Pratibimba Vada, means the theory of reflection. So means just like I am standing in front of mirror, I can move my hand, my reflection also moves the hand. So like that, there is a relationship between the Lord and the living entities, what Madhacharya further explains. It's all complex topic. That is where Achintitva comes. Okay, but on the surface level, you should understand this much, that dependency, first of all, between the Vishnu Tattvas, there is Abheda, and still there is variation. That is Achintya Bheda. Between Vishnu Tattva and the energies, actually speaking, the Lord is only controller, but still all these things are happening without the change in the Lord himself. How that is happening, that is Achintya. This is what my limited intelligence could understand this subject.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. I can very well understand that how vast that this discussion can go. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
I also understand the same way, Prabhu, that Lord has three energies, one is Antaranga Shakti, Bahiranga Shakti, and Tatastha Shakti. And there is for in case of Antaranga Shakti, there is also Bheda and Abhed, Lord and Antaranga Shakti, and for
No, no,
Tatastha
no,
Shakti
no,
is
no.
also Bheda and Abhed.
When you
And
say
but
Bhed and Abhed, you have to use the word very clearly.
Achintya with
No,
Achintya.
even if you say use Achintya Bheda Bhedana,
But
you should not slip into Lord changing.
yes,
Make
yes, yes,
sure
yes,
that
yes,
the
Prabhu.
Lord
Yes, yes,
doesn't change. So you have
yes,
to use
yes,
it in that way.
yes,
Means
yes.
like a
And with,
father gives 10 rupees note. Actually, the work is done by child only, but it's as good as the father himself doing, because he is organizing the whole thing.
yes, yes, Prabhu.
So that
And
is
even
the,
with Bahiranga Shakti is also Bhed and Abhed.
yes.
But depending the level of Bheda and Abheda depends on which Shakti. Antranga, it is more like we can say more is Abheda, very little Bheda, that is called Vishesha. And in case of Jiva, it is little more, and in Bahiranga, it is far more.
Yeah, but care should
Bheda.
be taken to also understand that between Lord and Shakti, there is no Vishesh. Lord is
Yes.
different, Shakti is different.
Yes.
Surya Prabhu, you would like to add something on this?
All good.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, I have a small suggestion that maybe we can put a different class for some discussions, because these discussions can go too far. And it's also very interesting and amazing to
Mataji,
discuss all.
once I explain some of these basics, because tomorrow I'm going to explain about how the different avatars are there, then how the different forms of Lakshmi are there, what is the position of Radha, because other sampradayas are especially worried about the use of Radha. We use Radha very loosely. Lakshmi is it takes so much tapasya to become a gopi. That's why gopis are superior to Lakshmi. We use all these terms little simply. So all this philosophy has to be understood before that. So the different forms of Vishnus and the different forms of Lakshmi and the different abodes. This whole thing completes Hari Paratara Krishna as a supreme personality of God concept. So once I explain a few concepts, then you all can keep writing questions. Then we will be
Yes,
able to discuss.
yes, absolutely.
I have a list of questions. You want me to dictate, or you want, how do you want to take them? I have 13 questions. Okay, I'll do one thing. These 13 I will just put in a group, and you all can note them down. They are just like what is that? Question bank. which will be helpful at the end. Okay. So we will end here. Thank you very much for the active discussion. वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री बलदेव विद्याभूषण प्रभु की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय गौर प्रेमानंद। हरि बोल।
Great.
Thanks.